Today I thought we'd do something a little bit different and just do a stretch only reformer series. So today I've got a balanced body IQ reformer, any reformer will do. We're going to start on one red spring or one heavy spring. We're going to begin with the classic scooter stretch. So I'm going to bring my right foot to the front of the machine. So I get my AeroPilates explainer set up. I'm going to bend my left knee, place the right foot up against the shoulder block, and my hands are going to come down to the Footbar right in front of me, about shoulder distance apart. I'm going to begin with a scoop under with the pelvis to really isolate the psoas on the left side, which is kind of this muscle that attaches through the hip flexors into the low back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to maintain that scoop while both hip bones face forward and send that left knee slightly behind. So I'm not fully collapsing into the stretch yet. I'm trying to maintain that scoop under. Just send the carriage back and forward. You're going to feel probably, for most, a pretty intense stretch through the left quads, through the left hip flexors. And we'll get into a more flowy extension back. But for now, I'd really like you to see if you can feel that stretch through the hip flexors, through the quads. If you feel like you're not feeling it, make sure your hips aren't twisted. You want both hip bones facing forward. Find that scoop before you move the carriage out, and try to keep the scoop under as you send that carriage back and forth just a few centimeters. You can also curve the upper part of your spine under, so that you've got this flexion in the upper back instead of extension. That may also help you isolate the work here. Good. And bring the carriage all the way in. Now we're going to let the spine be a little bit more free. So instead of that scooped under position, we're going to find a nice neutral spine, send the carriage back, and just let that low back release. You're probably going to feel a little bit of a different stretch here. You can keep the chest lifted and up. That might feel really nice. And again, don't let the hips twist. You really want both hip bones facing forward, like you've got two headlights in a car, beaming directly to front. And take a big breath in. Draw the carriage in, relax. Big inhale. Exhale, send it back. If it feels good, you can bring both forearms down to the Footbar and just let your body weight relax here. If that doesn't feel right to you, if you prefer a nice tall arch, you can keep those hands on the Footbar. And if you are feeling extra flexible, you can also extend the right leg forward for a nice split. If that's working for you, you may find that you feel best with the hands on the carriage or on the floor. I personally feel like it's most stable to have the hands on the Footbar, but please, if you're going to experiment with that, be cautious. Good. Big inhale, draw the carriage forward. We're going to go for the other side. So I'm going to, not so gracefully, bring my left foot to the left side of the machine. Right foot is curled under, up against the shoulder block on the right side. And once again, both hips face forward. I'm going to curl the pelvis under and just start with those baby movements. Moving the carriage back a few inches and forward to starting. If you like, you can find that big flexion through the upper spine, kind of like a cat as it raises its hackles. That may feel good. If that doesn't do anything for you, just make sure the pelvis is scooped under for this first one. And we're just flossing. So the carriage is moving forward a few inches, back. Really feeling lots of stretch through those hip flexors, through the quad. Very nice. And bring it forward. Now, letting the spine relax a little bit more. I'm going to keep the chest up. You can let the lumbar spine relax and release. And the carriage is going to move back a little bit more for this one. So this should feel pretty happy, pretty relaxed. You may not have as much range as I do here. That's totally fine, totally normal. Just once again, make sure both hips are facing forward. Chest will stay lifted for the first one. Still breathing. And bring it forward. Relax for a sec. Reset. Make sure you've got your headlight, hip bones shining forward. Send it back. And again, variations you may like. Forearms down to the Footbar. And let your body weight sink a little bit more. That's one option. Make sure you're still breathing. Either way, if you prefer your hands on the Footbar, chest lifted, you could also consider taking an arch back. Some people like that. And if you're feeling very flexible, if you have a lot of hamstring flexibility, hip flexibility, you can straighten out that left leg in the front, go for a nice long split, either keeping your hands anchored on the foot bar or onto the frame. Again, my preference is foot bar, but your mileage may vary. Pick the variations that feel best to you. When you're ready, bring it on forward. Next, we're going to stay on that red spring or that heavy spring. We're going to come to kneeling on the machine. Your left foot will come up against that shoulder block behind you. Right foot to the center of the foot bar, and both hips are going to square off here. So this is super important. You don't want to be twisting right or left. And what we're going to do is keep your left hip right over your left knee. Grab onto the foot bar on the outside of the foot. Foot is on the center. We're going to extend that right leg forward for a nice deep hamstring stretch. Breathing through this. Big inhale and relax. This may be very intense for some of you. This may not feel like a whole lot for others. Take it as it comes. If your leg doesn't extend all the way, work on the range over time. It's really not a huge deal. And we're going to bring it home and extend again. Good. If you can, if you have the option to, you can lower your torso down as much as you feel comfortable. Whatever works for you is fine. And when we're there, if you're feeling a little fancy, you can send your knee back and forward. Once again, flossing this stretch. You want to avoid too much wiggling through the pelvis. You really want to keep this nice and stable. If you need to reset, take a moment to do that. You should feel nice long stretch through the hamstrings, possibly through the calves, and potentially a little bit of stretch through that left hip. If you were extra bendy, proceed with caution. You can extend that right leg forward. Many of you will not be there. Many of you will still be fighting to get this right leg extension. Take it as it comes. These are all options to build on over time. Good. Find your last bit of stretch. We're going to move on to the opposite side. Right foot up against that right shoulder block, knee right in line with your hip. Left foot around the center of the foot bar. Start with the chest really high, right hip over right knee. And we're going to keep hold of that foot bar, extend the left leg as best as you can. So we're not sending the knee back here. It's still under that right hip. Feeling that left hamstring stretch. Left hip is down, not hiked up. Hips are nice and square. Bend the knee, bring it home. For me, my left foot was a little bit out of alignment. Needed it a little bit closer to the center of the bar. So I'm going to just take a quick check. You can do the same. Big breath in, exhale. Extend that left leg. Big breath in. Feel the stretch. Try to relax your right quad here. Make sure it's not gripping. And if you're feeling a little fancy, you can send that right knee back while that left leg is extended. Bring it on home. If you're struggling to get this left leg extension, focus just on stretching out the left hamstrings here. You may not get a lot of use out of this right knee movement if that left leg extension is still in progress. So keep flossing that knee back and forth if you've got access to that. And if you'd like to take it one step further, if you're more advanced in your flexibility, you can bring your hands down to the frame and straighten out that back knee a little bit more and that back hip. For me, I'm dealing with some tightness issues, though I am quite flexible. So I'm still working on this a little bit myself, but all options. Again, if that's not accessible to you, just focus on this left leg extension while you're here. All right, we're going to stay on that red spring and go for elephant variation. So elephant is a really nice stretch and lengthener for hamstrings. We're doing a lot of hamstrings here, I'm realizing today. Big focus for me. They get very tight. So we're actually going to come to standing on the machine. You can do this one with your feet up against the shoulder blocks. I prefer a straight or neutral spine variation. You can also do this with a nice rounded spine, which feels a little less meaningful for me. You do want to make sure that your shoulders aren't up against your ears, that they're nice and relaxed. We're going to send the carriage back and forth. Again, I prefer this one with a nice long spine, so I'm going to do that this way. For me, it feels best to walk the feet forward a little bit because I am rather flexible. But Pick whichever variation feels best. We're going to send the carriage back and forward. If you're going for the long spine variation, feel like your sits bones are flaring back behind you to get the most out of this. And if you don't have a ton of flexibility in your lower body, I strongly recommend keeping those heels up against the shoulder blocks. If you have a little bit more, you may get something out of walking them forward and finding that long spine variation. Others may benefit from the curved spine. So just sending the carriage back and forward, really feeling that length through the back of the legs. Feels awesome. Good. Breathing, we're going to go for 3. Hands stay curled around that shoulder block, or around the foot bar, excuse me. 2. 1, pressing into the palms, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. And close the carriage. We're going to come to sitting. You can find either a cross-legged position or a Z-sit where the right shin is up against the shoulder blocks. I'm going to stick with a cross-legged position today. We're going to go for Mermaid. So left hand will be on the center of the foot bar. Right arm is down by your side. Sit up really tall. You're going to take a big breath in. As you exhale, you're going to push into that left palm, reach the right arm up and over. The palm is going to flip to face the floor. Shoulders away from the ear, pressing into that left palm. Both hips are anchored really firmly into the mat. Big inhale, reach it up and over. If you need to adjust your hand position, go for it. Deep breath in, exhale, right hip stays down as you reach up and over. Good, taking a big breath in, exhale, shoulder down. Both hips anchored nice and firmly into the mat. Deep breath in, exhale, push into that left palm, reach up and over, feel that side stretch, nice release through your back. It feels so good. Inhale, and back to center. One last time, we're going to go for a little bit of a variation. Reach up and over. Turn your body to face down. Right hand goes to the foot bar. Walk your left hand to shoulder distance. You're going to push both hands into the foot bar, reaching long, long, long. Nice long elbows. Come on up. Place your left hand into the center of the bar. Right arm reaches up and over. Let's go for the other side. So turning to the opposite side, put the opposite foot in front. Your right hand now will go onto the center of the foot bar. Elbow is soft to start. Left arm down. Nice neutral spine so you're not curving your pelvis under and your tailbone under. Deep breath in, exhale. Both hip bones stay steady. Push into that right palm. Reach up and over. Palm flips to face the floor. Left hip is heavy. Deep breath in. Nice side body stretch on the left side. Exhale, bring it up. Big inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, push into that right palm, press away. Right shoulder is far away from your ears, not hiked up. Left hip is heavy on the mat. That's really going to help you access the deepest stretch on the left side of your back. Carriage comes in, let the arm float back down. Big breath in, exhale, push away. Left arm reaches up and over, palm flips to face the floor. Breathing here, inhale, reach up. We're going to take our last little one, and with our little variation here, press up and over. We're going to place that left hand onto the foot bar, walk the right hand to the side. Still in that seated position, press both hands away. You're going to get a little bit of a stretch now through the upper back. Make sure the shoulders aren't up. They're melting away like candle wax, far, far away from your ear. Make sure your head isn't dropping down too far. You're tucking your chin back. Big breath in, exhale. Sit up nice and tall. Let the carriage come in. Right hand comes to the center of the bar. Left arm reaches up and over. And you're done. That's it. Nice little quick stretch. Thank you so much. Please like this video if you liked it. It helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you want to see more. I post weekly, and I'll see you next time.